we'd see a big fire, it knocked the fuel pump. This is strictly a safety issue.
Gotcha.
And while Larry was talking about the situation with Denny Hamlin's race car about 30 laps ago, Kurt Busch and Denny Hamlin both able to drive around Sam Hornish Jr. The 77 has since dropped back to 4th. New race leader Kurt Busch at lap 107.
And that's an interesting thing for all the fans that probably watch this sport and don't know. NASCAR makes safety innovations and don't make a big deal about them sometimes. We know about the Hans collars. We know about the safer walls. We know about the COT. But there's those little things that change internally in that garage area that don't get a lot of press that makes these cars, that will make these cars safer in the long run and make them safer for the crews, the drivers, and the safety teams.
Larry mentioned the 6 of David Reagan and that problem he had on pit road. He was 6th. When it came to the pit lane, he's now scored 33rd. And a driver that has really been solid today, you see him on your screen, the 18 of Kyle Busch. If you weren't with us earlier in the weekend, changed an engine here on Friday. Not much practice time prior to qualifying. NASCAR rules say if you change an engine, you must go to the rear of the field at the start of the race. Busch did that, but he is now in the top 10. And Wally, if you can rally like he has in the first 100 laps, gain the track position, now you've set yourself up for a very successful day.
Yeah, his car has been awfully strong. We've been watching, and it's very strong in traffic. If this guy ever gets out front, it could be trouble for everybody else if he gets into that clean air. But right now, his car's working really well in traffic. He's been patient, and he's been picking them off one by one. So I think these guys are going to have to be worried about this 18 before the day's over.
I think so too. And let's let this be a good example to people to say, okay, why is qualifying important? It's taken him half the race to put himself back in contention. He's raced over 100 laps here at a 200-lap race to get where now he thinks they're in contention to contend for a win and to put themselves in position. So when people say, well, qualifying is not that big a deal and we can come from the back, yeah, they're saying it a little bit for publicity and a little bit to help themselves because they know it's a big deal.
We mentioned the change in the afternoon for David Reagan. He's dropped a number of positions, Phil.
Yeah, Adam, what a horrible break. He was up in the top 10 solidly for the majority of this race. Came down pit road. We documented that they made the contact with Casey Mears, and unfortunately, that relegated him back to the very back of the pack. He's continuing to run pretty fast laps, but it's just the opposite of Kyle Busch, as you're going to watch the problem he had on pit road. Watch him leave pit road. Casey Mears coming in. They actually had to come back in, adjust on the toe end. The car is pretty good right now, but David's running in the 32nd position, and unfortunately, we're over halfway in this race. It's going to be almost impossible for him to get that track position back.
Yeah, and the key is, Phil, it's going to drive halfway decent if you have 2 fresh tires or 4. What's really going to come into play is when he gets some laps on these tires. That's, I think, where he's really going to start seeing the handle go away on that car.
See David Reagan on track. Right now, he's in the 32nd position. Kurt Busch continues to lead at Michigan. Hamlin, Kane, Gordon, Burton, the top 5.